Innovating Education Learning World in association with WISE, an initiative of Qatar Foundation.
This week, Learning World goes to Germany and explores the various different education systems available, according to your address, your abilities, and your parents' convictions. Germany is organized along federal lines, meaning each region organizes education in a slightly different way. They also organize their own exams. So how does that work in practice? What are the pros and cons? We went to Bavaria to find out more.
Patricia is a young teacher who qualified while at high school in the federal state of Brandenburg in the northeast of Germany. But when Patricia moved to Munich, which is in the Bavaria region, she found her degree was not recognized.
If your studies aren't recognised at all and if your degree is seen as inferior, then you feel a bit discriminated against. I mean, you studied, did your traineeship, you had a lot of stress and work, and you thought, now I can finally start to work.
Germany differs to many other European countries because educational policy is made by each of the 16 states across the nation, not by one centralised ministry. Leaving the entire school system in the hands of the federal states has led to competition and different standards and quality of education.
In Germany, the federal states decide themselves which educational structure and kind of schools they want to have. It's because of the history of the country. There used to be many small states which all determine their own direction.
Patricia has been fighting for 2 years now to get her degree at least partly recognized. It's a painful bureaucratic process, even though her marks are among the best in Brandenburg.
For many questions regarding the recognition of my degrees, I have to turn directly to the ministry. They take a long time to answer, they keep on asking for documents, and it all seems endless.
At Germany's biggest educational trade union, GEW, Patricia's case is seen as a symptom of the federal system, which leads to inequality and elitism.
This is unacceptable. The knowledge of a teacher is not being used, which is one thing. On the other hand, her personal development is being stopped, and this is also a personal tragedy.
In Bavaria, the government's own standards have boosted competition, which some believe leads to better results. But surveys show 90% of Germans want the federal system changed, fearful of what might happen if they decide to move states.
So as we see, having different systems can sometimes be problematic. But that's not all. There are also many students doing highly popular vocation courses on a day release basis, meaning they go to school 2 or 3 days a week and to work for the rest of the week. How does that work? Let's find out more.
Today, Julian is conducting experiments. He is one of more than 2.5 million students who have opted for the dual education system. He studies in a vocational school in Hanover, where studies are combined with practical elements in a workplace.
I now have the wheel of the robot in my hand and I control the axes.
The dual system allows young people over the age of 16 to spend 1 or 2 days a week in classes while following an apprenticeship at the same time.
We're a state school and we give qualifications that go beyond the professional area, which means the competence is not only about the technical area, but we also want to transmit a social expertise.
This interest in a social education is reflected in the curriculum, where the schools also teach general knowledge courses. Julian is taking a politics class. The other 4 days a week, he works at an IT company. What he learns at school, he puts into practice there.
Through school, I reinforce what I learn here. I also learn new things, and it's not only theory, but in the laboratories we learn practical things. The contrast of the two experiences is very good.
After 2 or 3 years of training, Julian must pass both a practical and a theoretical exam to receive his certificate. The vocational system was designed in the 18th century, but it remains current and is a good way of tackling unemployment.
You have the advantage, compared to an academic education, of already having some work experience. Our qualified workers usually have a better chance of finding a job.
Unfortunately, these schools need up-to-date equipment, and that does not come cheap. This machine costs around €330,000, but it is a good investment. At this school, around 80% get a job at the end of their studies.
And if that wasn't enough choice, there are also alternative schools in Germany teaching according to their own theories. Waldorf schools are one example where the 3 R's share priority with less academic skills. But the method is controversial. Some people saying it is more spiritual than educational. Let's see in this report.
In the north of Hamburg, these children are used to kicking off the school day by singing and moving. In Waldorf schools, physical expression, dance, theatre and poetry are as important as reading and writing.
The target is to wake them up by moving, especially on a Monday morning. They should feel good in their bodies. They should feel, where are my feet, where are my hands, and where are my fellow students?
When the maths lesson does start, there are no books and pens to be seen. The children keep on moving.
The path starts by doing things yourself. You transform what you learn in an artistic expression, and at the end you learn the content by yourself.
The first Waldorf school opened in 1919, founded by Austrian philosopher Rudolf Steiner. These days there are more than 200 across Germany, ranging from kindergarten age to high school. Steiner was also the founder of anthroposophy, a philosophy that believes in the existence of an intellectually comprehensive spiritual world that can be reached through personal inner development. Some people have criticized this aspect of the schools.
There are families that go through this Waldorf system without noticing the anthroposophy behind it, because this philosophy often comes with subliminal indoctrination. Things that are clearly anthroposophical are not labeled as anthroposophical.
But Waldorf teachers say the philosophy is simply a backdrop for the teaching. They say there is no indoctrination at all.
Actually, anthroposophy is an instrument for the teachers to release their creative powers. However, it is never a subject of the classes. It's not our aim to raise little anthropophoses. Our goal is to form human beings with free will.
It is difficult to generalize about Waldorf schools. While they all follow a similar pedagogy, each school is independent. As they don't rely on books, each teacher develops the program in a unique way to fit the rhythm of the students. Each teacher usually follows the same class for around 8 years.
We try to look at what's missing and what should be developed in the child.
Waldorf specialists compare the class to a family. Therefore, the teachers have a lot more freedom, but they also have a greater responsibility.
So now over to you. Were you educated in Germany? Did you do a vocation training or go to an atypical school? Share your opinions and experiences on our social media pages. We will be back next week with more. Goodbye from all the team.
Learning World in association with WISE, an initiative of Qatar Foundation.